Hi everyone. I'd like to go over real quickly how to make a website wireframe on paper. I'm going to show you a very simplistic version of this because at this stage of everyone's learning, it's more about having a general idea than doing anything perfect. But I will tell you, if you apply this or if you understand it, you can um, I'll really apply this to any project, even if it's much larger scale than, in our case, focusing on a personal portfolio website. We're going to do two things, really. We're going to first start out doing some wireframe sketches on paper, but then we will also use Google Slides. I know I referenced Proto.io before, but I really think Google Slides makes the process of doing kind of a codeless or a no-code website prototype just as easy. It's a little bit more intuitive. There's just some advantages, so I'm going to show that. Know that I'm going to be doing some stuff on just scrap paper that I have around. So what I'll attempt to do is hold up what I'm doing. So like there will be some lag time between me writing some stuff on the paper and drawing out what I'm doing, and then showing you. I'll try to put the paper pretty close so you can see what I'm going to do. Let's get into this. So before I actually wireframe and write anything or draw anything for my site, I want to create a user story. And this user story can be these 3 lines. So I'll tell you, as a, I need so that. As a blank, I need something so that something else can happen. I know that that sounds probably completely unclear at this point, but let me write this out and I'm going to show you that this actually will make sense. So, as a blank, I need blank so that. Let me show you this, what I've just written, and it's nothing fancy or complicated. All right. As a, I need so that. On the wireframes that I want you to do, I want you to write out those 3 kind of items. As a, I need so that. So let's talk about this. We're creating a personal portfolio website, right? When we're building this, I think everyone will agree with me that's in the class that what we're trying to do is attract HR people that are just general HR people, and then maybe a technical hiring manager. So as a general HR person, you'll need to see a personal portfolio website that has XYZ so that you can determine if you, meaning you as a participant in the incubator program, can be a potential candidate to be hired or not. And then as a more technical hiring manager, you need something a little different so that you can make a decision whether you, again, as academic incubator student, are capable of contributing to that technical hiring manager's team. So we're really creating a user statement for 2 groups, and this is kind of very high level. So I'm just going to put, and I would like you to put as well, as a general HR manager, I need, so let's think about this. As a general HR manager, what do you think if somebody that's just generally recruiting, they're not a technical recruiter, but their job is to line up candidates for the technical hiring manager to look at, right? They may not know how to code themselves. Most of the time they do not. What they need, because they're not going to drill down into your code, is keywords, right? They're recruiting you. So my technical hiring manager told me we need somebody that knows JavaScript, and then they know JavaScript frameworks like Node or Ember, or run down the list of the 100 other JavaScript frameworks, or same thing with various other languages. So they actually do need keywords, and I know that that sounds trite, but it's true. because that helps them make a determination on whether you could be a potential candidate or not. And they also need more visual representations of your work. So we're talking about putting in quickly something that shows you've executed projects with this and that language, because those are the keywords that they look for, and also visual representations of that work. So meaning if you built a personal portfolio website, they need to see a thumbnail of how you built that project in stages, and just visual representations of how you put your code together and created a tangible end product that someone could view in a web browser. It does not need to be very code centric for them. So for the general HR manager, the general HR recruiter, they need to know what languages you know and what computer programming languages. Plus they need visual representations of work, meaning like thumbnail pictures of the site, or hopefully you put a site or a project up on the public web and you can just put a URL in there. So they need languages and visual project examples. Okay, so what languages do you know? What type of code language do you know? And then visual examples. So again, and I know that this may not look right, but as a general HR manager or general HR recruiter, I need to know what languages you know, and also visual representations. It shouldn't be high level, so that, guess what? So that they can put you into their candidate pool and then kind of funnel you to the more technical hiring manager. Their job is to cast a very broad net. They're the person that's fishing, and they're casting giant nets to bring in all these candidates. This person looks good. I looked at their stuff. It looks good. They know the languages you said that they need to know. Will they fit for us? So that they can pass along to technical hiring director. So for general HR, I just do this 3 things. As a general HR, I need to know the languages and have visual representations of your project so that I can pass you along as a candidate to a more technical person. So when recruiters are looking for you, they're looking just very broad brush at those main things. I need, so that I've tried to help along with that first user story. Can you please, on that same premise, give me an I need, so that for the technical hiring manager, what do they need? As a technical hiring manager, I need to know what so I can do what. And I know that I mentioned some stuff earlier in the video, but please write out a user statement or a user story, I'm sorry, for a technical hiring manager, and using that framework as I need, so that. Okay, that's that piece. So now we know kind of like what they're looking for. So now we need to actually sketch, and this does not need to be artistic, it just needs to be very functional. We need to sketch, and what we'll try to do is like make 3 different layouts. I think you try to go simple, and then you may try to get a little more complicated, add a little more detail, and then maybe you add a lot of detail, and you determine which layout and which kind of user interface is going to most effectively produce value according to the user story I wrote. So if a general HR person's quickly trying to find out if you know the languages and you've done projects that kind of reflect that you know what the heck you're doing, wouldn't it behoove you to, as quickly as possible when you bring the website up, or when the HR person jumps on the website, show what languages and projects you've done? Exactly. So you've got to sketch out on paper and kind of get where you want to position things to some degree known, what buttons are going to be there, and just how generally a user will work through the interface. So I'm going to sketch up something that kind of goes like this. We want to know what you have on there. Is there an about page? Is there a portfolio page? And is there a contacts page? And when I say pages, maybe it's a single page web application, as is the common trend for almost every website. Then show me like each div. So like if the top divs in about me, it's a picture of you with like 2 sentences. I'm a software developer in the making and really have a deep passion for JavaScript. And then the next frame is maybe a portfolio div, like a piece of the site that shows a few thumbnails for projects you've done. And when the person would hover over on desktop, you would have buttons that would pop out to tell them what language you did it in, and then a link to your GitHub so they could dig down further if you want, and then a contacts page. But the first thing that we're going to draw on these wireframes is simply, I'm going to have my about here, and it doesn't need to have any buttons or where you're going to put a picture. I'm going to have a portfolio here, and I'm going to have a contacts here. So take it from the highest level of thought all the way down to the most granular in 3 parts. So I'm going to just draw this first part out. I'm going to have an about. I'm going to have a portfolio. And I'm going to have a contact div. And if you're building a different type of web application, maybe you do have a click and then a page transition, and these are 3 different pages. The layout I'm using is more of a single vertically scrolling single page application. So the first level of the sketch is just simply, I have an about page, a portfolio page, a contacts page. Maybe you will have 5 divs or 5 pages. Maybe you'll have an about, a portfolio, a blog, and exercises, then a contact. I don't know. Please think above and beyond what I'm just showing in this basic example. So that's one. That gives me the highest level of understanding. These are the key pieces of content you will have. Number 2, can you drill down and on the about page, and I'm just going to show the about page, you'll hopefully get it. On the about page, can you show me? I'm going to have a nav bar. I'm going to have, this button, or, a button here, a button here, and a button here. And can you even give me an idea of like what's going to be on the button? Where does it lead? Or I'm sorry, not where does it lead, but what is the title of that button? Show me, and it doesn't need to be a beautiful picture, but like, this is where I'm going to put a picture and just label it. That's a picture. And then here's where I'm going to have text. So the second thing I want to see you draw right here is just, okay, this is a nav bar. This is where a little text is going to go. And then this is where my picture is going to go. And I'm sorry, that's my about page. So take me from the lowest level of detail. I've got an about page, I've got a portfolio, and I've got a contact page, and then drill down. On my about page, we've got a nav bar here, I've got a picture here, I've got text here. Show me more levels of detail. For the third and final piece that I'd like to see at this basic level, if there are buttons that go to kind of sub pages, for instance, if it's a link that, or I'm sorry, if you have, let's say, something in your portfolio page that opens up a light box or a modal, depending on what language you're working in, something that like you click on a thumbnail image, let's say, and then a bigger box appears. Let me know that that's what you intend. So show me a little more granular level. So like on your portfolio page, you showed me what buttons and where you're going to place them on number 2. Now show me if there's any kind of click event. Does it open a modal, or does it take me to some, does this take me to GitHub, or does this take me somewhere? Show me what the buttons are actually going to do. So I'm just going to draw for my portfolio, like I have 3 thumbnails. So portfolio, and I'm going to just circle it like I'm going to put when clicked We get a light box with some text and a few links. We get, when clicked, light box appears. So on that third level of detail, and I'm sorry for doing this over here, you'll show me the page and just circle or do something that indicates when that's clicked, okay, a light box appears. And I get that it wouldn't appear below, you know, and you can just write a tiny little message. The light box will appear as an overlay, you know, over the images, and it will have a, you know, a bigger description of how I executed the project, and then links to GitHub and CodePen. So again, I want you to write a user story that focuses on what a technical hiring manager would be looking for. As a technical hiring manager, I need so that. And then I want you to give me a hierarchical view in 3 steps. I want to know what divs or what pages you're going to be working on. I want to know how you're going to lay out each page. And then if the page has kind of subcomponents like light boxes or modals, how the buttons will work and where they're going to push me. So I hope that that makes sense. Please message me if you have any further questions. Thanks.